welcome back to my channel. My name is Maggie. If you're new here, welcome. I am doing a Pan That Palette update today. So I have a palette that I'm focusing on for the whole year with the goal to use up as much as I can from it. And then I also am rotating through the rest of my collection. So every 2 months I have one focus companion palette. So today is an update where we will be wrapping up the focus palette that I've had from March and April, and I'll be rolling in a new companion palette for May and June. So I'm excited to share with you. I also have a new pan. It's an exciting update and I'm ready to share with you. So today is the 30th. I did my last eye look with my companion palette today and I'm excited to switch into something new. So I'm going to start with my Pan That palette. So I am working on the Soft Glam 2 palette this year. It is kind of a mini size of the Soft Glam palette from ABH. I will insert what it looked like last month so you can see the comparison of where I'm at this month. So this is the current progress. I'll just kind of leave it here for a minute. So in the palette, there's definitely been a little bit of movement, I would say. So mostly in the shade Dreamer. This is a shimmery kind of light gold shade. And I definitely know that the pan has expanded this month. So very pleased with how that is going. This has been a go-to lid shade for me, whether I'm doing a more warm look or a more kind of purpley look. It just works out really well as a lid shade. So when I'm like trying to get ready quick, or if I just don't know what to do, this has kind of been like the go-to lid shade, and then I can just pick, do I want a warm crease or a cool crease, and then go from there. So that has been fantastic. I am tracking my usages. So last time I had 44 uses on Dreamer. Now I have 54. So I used an additional 10 times in the past month. Moving over to Orange Soda, there is a little bit more movement in here. I don't feel like we're really seeing it in the pan though. So, you know, it's probably just the brush that I'm using. I haven't really switched. I'm still using pretty light, fluffy brush. I know if I switched to something a little bit more dense, it probably would kick up more and we'd see more of a dip, but I'm okay with where I'm at. So in Orange Soda, last time I had 31 uses, now I have 42. So I used an additional 11 times, which I think is pretty good. My companion palette this time was very warm leaning, so I would use a lot of the other shades in addition to Orange Soda to try to build different looks. So that worked out pretty well for me. Moving over to Dusty Rose here on the end. So this is a matte kind of mauve-y shade. It's got a little bit of purple to it. This one definitely shows a dip a little bit more here. And it's because I'm using a different brush with it. So that's why I say I'm sure if I switch the brush for Orange Soda, I probably would see more movement in it. But you know, we'll just see. Next time I wash my brushes, maybe I'll change which crease brush I use, but well, you never know. So Dusty Rose was not a main focus for me this past month. Last time I had 23 uses, now I have 28. So I did use it 5 times, but like I said, I was really leaning more into the warmer kind of orangey gold looks than more purpley looks. So then moving down to the second row, here is Incense. So Incense is a matte brown. This one also doesn't have a big dip in it. I mean, I definitely can see some, you know, usage, but it's not as big of a dip as Dusty Rose. So for Incense, where am I? Last time I used it 28 times. And now I have 42 uses on it. So quite a few uses. What I was doing a lot of times is pairing Orange Soda and Incense together. So I put down Orange Soda and then a little bit of Incense just to kind of add some depth to it and maybe make it a little bit more neutral sometimes. Other times it was for the depth. So that was great. I'm really pleased with getting more use out of there. And then we have Sultry, which I feel like I'm really close to hitting pan. I would love to see pan and Sultry in the next month or two. I mean, I feel like I'm right there, especially as I compare to Dreamer. I would say I'm probably like 5-6 uses away from seeing some pan shine through. It won't be as big as Dreamer, but I think I'm getting down there. So for Dreamer, I use this pretty much on the outer third of my eye look just to add a little bit of dimension and also a little depth. I don't love, Sultry. I don't love Sultry all over the lid. It's just too dark for me, but I do like it on the outer third. So Last time I had 30 uses in sultry, and now I have 47. So I used it 17 times since last time. So I'm trying to be pretty consistent and wear it in almost every look I'm wearing, just so that I'm getting the usage out of it. So then that brings me to Mulberry, which is this matte kind of burgundy shade. Now, Mulberry isn't a shade that I reach for a ton. I do enjoy wearing it as a liner. I did wear it as a liner, I think twice. Yeah, I don't think I used it in a different way because I had 2 uses from last time. I had 8 uses before and now I'm at 10. So I must have used it both times as a liner because I don't remember using it any other way. And it's beautiful. I don't think I'm really going to hit pan on this shade by the end of the year. I mean, maybe if I really get into it, but at the rate I'm going, it doesn't look like it. So we'll see. But Noir on the end here, this black, I already do have pan in it, and I got pan by using it as a liner. So, you know, if I really wanted to hit pan on Mulberry, I'm sure I could start, maybe I'll try that just for a month to really start wearing liner. I haven't been wearing like an eyeliner type of a shadow for a while, but maybe I'll just try it for a month and see how it goes. I typically wet my brush and then kind of pick up the color so that it stays on my lash line a little bit better. So anyway, we'll see what we do with Mulberry, but I'm really liking it as a liner. And then Noir, I used once as a liner. So I had 4 uses last time and now I have 5 uses, but I do already have pan in it. So that is the update for the ABH Soft Glam 2. I'm really pleased with the progress I'm getting out of here, and I'm excited to switch with a different companion palette because I think I will kind of refresh the way I look at this palette and want to draw towards different colors. Like I said, my companion palette, which was a group of Colourpop singles, as you can see here, is very kind of warm leaning. So the colors are orangey and gold, and the switch we're gonna make is gonna be a little bit more pinky and purpley. So I think that I will start to use some shades in here a little bit differently. So that is it for ABH Soft Glam 2. Goals for next time, I would really love to see pan and sultry, so I think that's going to be a focus of mine. And I also would really love to get Dreamer wrapped up, maybe like by June. So we'll see if I can do that, but in order to do that, I need to just keep using it consistently, which I don't think should be a problem. So those are going to be my 2 main goals. Otherwise, I do want to use every shade at least once. That includes Noir and Mulberry. If I can get more uses, fantastic. But, you know, we'll just see. But the goal is to make sure I'm using every shade every month. So let's move on to my Colourpop shadows. I did just kind of show you. So this is what they currently look like, and I will put up a comparison from last month. You'll see that we do have a new pan in here, which is very exciting. I didn't realize that I would hit pan, but I'm so happy that I did. So let's talk through each shade here and give you my usage, tell you how I used it, and then we will go through pan percentage and all that good stuff. So the first shade here is Coastline. I love this shade as an inner corner highlight. It's just got this brightness and iridescence to it without being too heavy shimmery, that it's just beautiful for the inner corner. So that's pretty much the only way I used it, and it works with any look for me, which is fantastic. So last time I had 8 uses in Coastline, now I have 19. So I got good use out of it this past month. Moving over to the top, this is a peachy, shimmery shade. I used it as a lid shade, and I did hit pan, which is super exciting. Again, I wasn't really planning on it, but I just kind of kept reaching, and then I thought a couple days before I hit pan, like, oh, I might hit pan, and then I kept going, and once I hit pan, I kind of stopped using it and focused back into Dreamer because I wasn't using Dreamer, the shimmery lid shade, when I was using the top, which isn't a bad thing. I really enjoyed it, and it is a little bit more peachy. So it did give me a different look, but once I hit pan, then I went back to Dreamer to focus there. So anyway, the top, I had 6 uses last time, and then I used it 6 more times for a total of 12 uses, and that's when I hit pan. So I didn't use it after I hit pan, but I did have, you know, obviously usage before this year, so it wasn't 12 uses in total for me to hit pan, but so far this year. So really pleased with that. That one is such a beautiful shade. I'm excited to, you know, use it again in the future. And then this shade here is called Designer Duds, and this is a little bit of a deeper shimmery shade. I didn't end up using it a ton. I used it once last time, and I used it once again this time. I typically would use it on the outer third, like I'm using sultry, and I just found myself reaching for sultry more than designer duds, which is totally fine. This is supposed to be, you know, in companion to this, not the main focus. So didn't get a ton of use there, but I'm glad I used it. You know, I still used it twice this year so far, which is fantastic. So then moving to the middle row, which is mattes. This one is called Boa. It is a cooler kind of gray taupe, you know, matte shade. I use it as a transition shade. So when I wanted to do more of a cooler look, this is one of the options I would use. Last time I had 7 uses and now I have 11. So I got a few uses out of there. The center shade here is called Hustler, and this is a lighter version of Orange Soda. So again, I would use this as a transition shade and then most of the time put Orange Soda over it just to kind of deepen it a little bit more. And it was really great. So Hustler, I had 7 uses last time and now I have 14 uses. So I used it an extra 7 times. And then at the end here, we have Morningside, which is a beautiful orange matte. It is so bright on my skin. I mean, I'm a very fair complexion person, but this just like for whatever reason really pops. So I have to be very light-handed with it. I still like the shade, but it's not something that I reach for every time. So that's evident with my progress usage. So last time I had 1 use and now I have 3 uses. So I used it twice in May, but it's just not something that I was reaching for all the time. And then on the bottom here, I have 2 shimmery shades. Seashells already had pan in it. So Seashells is this beautiful shimmery green. It like almost reminds me of money like green, but it's beautiful. It has kind of a gold twist to it as well. So I ended up using Seashells once last time and now I have 3 uses. So I used it 2 more times. Again, it wasn't the main focus, but it was fun when I wore it and I really, really love that shade. And then the last one is Rumored, which I had 2 uses last time and now I have 7, so I used it 5 times. And this is a beautiful, cool tone, kind of a taupey, shimmery shade that I put all over my lid and really enjoyed it. So when I wanted a cooler look, this is an option that I used as a lid shade, maybe with like Boa or Incense or Dusty Rose from the ABH Soft Glam 2. So that is it for the progress here. I'll just give you another close-up here quickly. So since we did hit pan in the talk, I've got my pan percentage here in my planner. So last time we ended the month with a pan percentage of 15.85%. That is 13 out of 82 eyeshadows. So then on April 12th, I hit pan on the talk. So that brought my total pan number up to 14 out of 82. So now I'm at 17.07% eyeshadow pan, which is so exciting. I know that number is like kind of a fun thing to track and it really doesn't mean too much other than I'm using what I have, but it's just a fun thing to like see it grow. And as I hit pan, I'm super excited to like come in here and jot it down. So the other thing I do is I track, I have a kind of diagram here of all my palettes. I do have a smaller collection, so it all fits on one page. But what I do is I like to color in some lines and things when I hit pan or finish something. So I use a dashed line to represent hitting pan. And then when I finish up an eyeshadow, I will color it in the box all the way in. So this time I'll be adding in a dashed line and I do different colors to represent different years. So I've got a key up here, but blue is 2024. Whereas like if we look here, green is 2022 and pink is 2023, yellow is 21. So it just kind of lets me know how long I've had pan, which I think is kind of fun. So for my Colourpop Z palette of the singles, I do actually have another sheet that kind of like cheats of where each shade goes. So when I pop them out, I can put them back in the same order that I like them in. So from my cheat sheet, I know that we're going to be doing a hashed line in this grid space down here, the second one. So I'm just going to add that in here. There we go. And now we've got another pan noted, which is so awesome. So I'm excited to see if we can hit any other pans this year, but it has been fun. So far this year, I have hit pan in 2 eyeshadows and I finished up 1 eyeshadow. So excited to see if I can make any other big moves that way in the upcoming months. So let me introduce you to the palette that I'm going to be rolling in. So my singles are going to go back into the larger Z palette. I had some love on them, but it's time to put them aside. And the new companion palette is going to be the ABH Norvina palette. So this to me is a very springtime palette. There are some deeper shades that I also enjoy in the fall, but this just has, you know, some rosiness to it. It's obviously got some pinks and purples. And I just think it's a really beautiful palette for May and June, which is when I'm going to be using it. So the one thing that's kind of tricky about this is that there are some exact shades from my Soft Glam that are in here and some shades that are pretty close. So there will be shades in the Norvina palette that I probably won't use. So I'm not going to set the goal to use every shade in here at least once, because if it's the same exact shade, I'd rather get the usage in my mini, you know, my Pan That palette for the whole year than in the Norvina palette. So let me put these maybe side by side somehow here. Okay, so here they are side by side. So a couple of the shades that are exactly the same is Dreamer. So Dreamer is right here in this palette, and it is right here in the Norvina. So I won't be using Dreamer in the Norvina. The other shade that is the same is Incense down here, this matte brown. I also have Incense in this palette. So those two are like off limits, so to speak, in the Norvina palette, because if I want those shades, I will be coming in here for them. Now there are some other shades that are pretty similar. For example, Mulberry and Passion down here, the two kind of matte burgundies, are pretty close. I mean, I think Mulberry is a little bit richer of a color, but ultimately they're gonna do the same thing for me. So I may not use Passion down here too much. We'll have to see. The other shade that I'm a little bit unsure of, and maybe we can do a swatch here to check, is Sultry. I want to see how it compares against Rose Gold and Dazzling. So maybe I'll just do a quick swatch and we can see how close they are or aren't. But I don't want, you know, to kind of compete, and I'd rather identify all this now than waste uses. I mean, it's not really a waste of use because ultimately, you know, I'm getting use out of my own products, but you know what I mean? Like I'd rather have more usage in my Pan That palette. So we're going to do a swatch here. So the one closest to my wrist, this is Sultry. Okay. And then we can do Rose Gold on top of that. And then I'll do Dazzling as well. Dazzling might be a little bit more brown. Okay. So here we go. We've got Sultry, Rose Gold, and Dazzling. So I do think that, again, this all over my elbow. I do think that, you know, they have a little bit of a more metallic finish, but ultimately for me, when I blend it in, that doesn't make too much of a difference. As far as the actual color though, I kind of feel like they're all the same. I mean, Rose Gold is a little bit different. It definitely has more rosiness to it, but ultimately they're close enough that I'm going to use them in the same way. So I probably will avoid Rose Gold and Dazzling. And now I've told you all these shades that I'm not going to use from this palette that I'm rolling in. But I'm still going to use Summer, Wild Child, Celestial, Drama, Soul, Love, Volatile. Eccentric, maybe. It's pretty close to Incense. But there still are shades in here that I can use. I think really Love will be pretty with like Wild Child or Celestial, as well as the Dusty Rose shade. And I would really love to kind of lean into that like pinky purpley tones, at least for May. June, I may get tired of it, but I've been doing so many kind of warm, golden, orangey looks that I'm ready to switch to something a little bit rosier and softer, perhaps. So I think that'll be good. If I recall, Celestial was a little powdery, so we might have to work with that. Oh no, it was Wild Child. That's a little like chunky, but that's okay. We can work with that. So I've got those two swatched on my hand as well. They have a really nice like reflect and shine to them. I think it will really help me lean into Dusty Rose and Mulberry. I also think that, you know, Dreamer would still be pretty with like Love in the Crease or something like that. So I'm excited for the pairing. I don't think I'll see as much usage in Norvina as we have seen in the past two palettes that I've been focusing on, but I still think that this is like a worthwhile combination. So I'm excited to give this a try. I will count my uses just like I have been, and we'll see what I can do in here. But ultimately, the goal is to just use as much as I can. You know, I'm not a person that's going to finish up every shade in every palette. I know this about myself. As far as the ABH Soft Glam 2, I will be decluttering this at the end of the year. So the goal is to use as much as I can. I just personally don't like to have makeup products in my life for too long. So powder products I only keep in my collection for up to 5 years, which is still a good amount of time. And then cream products like lipsticks and glosses, I only keep for up to 3 years. Now, a lot of times I can run through them before then, but that's kind of the basis of my decision to pan this year is I know that this is its 5th year and then we will get rid of it at the end of the year. So let's just see what we can do with it. So we'll see what we can do, but would love to see Pan and Sultry, would love to work on finishing Dreamer up. And if I do finish Dreamer, I've got another one in this palette. So that is where we are at. I hope you have enjoyed this update. It's a little longer and rambly because we're doing the switch over, but yeah, I'm excited for a fresh start and would love to hear from you in the comment section how your eyeshadow panning is going, if this is something that you enjoy doing too. At the end of the day, eyeshadow panning is just kind of a fun thing and it helps me continue to use what I have instead of wanting new things. And I can definitely say since I've been panning, I look at new makeup releases in different ways. I see things that I already have being released over and over again. And so it's been a lot easier as time goes on because I used to totally have like a makeup shopping addiction. It's been easier to resist certain releases. And even now I'm almost like, I don't know, sometimes I'm like, well, I already have that, so why would I need it, you know? So I think that's a positive aspect that panning has brought to my life. So anyway, long story short, I like eyeshadow panning. So thank you so much for watching. I will see you in my next video. Bye.